Hello, my name is Julie. Welcome to my channel. You're watching Treasures Made from Yarn. And in this video, it's a tutorial on how to make these socks. Well, they are tube socks. Obviously, it's chevron stitch. So it's just a tube with a chevron stitch and a toe on it. That'll be the hardest part of this whole sock, at least I think, is sewing the seam because it's not a straight seam. See, now I couldn't even find the seam on here, but yeah, that would be the hard part, would be sewing the seam for this. So, but even that, it's not that hard. These are, I would consider these almost beginner. So if you want to try to dive into some crochet socks, this would be a bad pattern to get into. So, without further ado, let's get into making these socks. Right, to get started on my ripple or chevron tube socks, we are using for this video Patterns Crochet Socks, which is a sock weight yarn, but I would say this is not super thin. I want to say, I think this says it's a size 1. But I know some sock yarns are thinner than other, but this is the sock yarn we're using. And I'm using a 3mm hook for this. So this is a pretty easy pattern for tube socks. To get started, I'm going to chain 118. I'm going to make my chain of 118 and then I will be right back. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that we're going to be sewing a seam up later, so you might want to leave a generous amount of tail for sewing. Okay, now I'm going to chain my 118, and again, I'll be back. Okay, I have my chain of 118. Okay, well, you can see this, but from the second chain, from the hook, we are going to do a single crochet. And we're going to do a single crochet in the next 5 chains. One, two, come on, 3, so I should have a total of 6 single crochet on our foundation row. So we have 6. So next, we are going to skip 2 chains, and single crochet in the next chain, and 1 single crochet in the next 4. For a total of 5. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so once we have 5 single crochets here, the next chain gets 3 single crochets in that same stitch. So we're going to put 3 single crochets in that stitch. Now we're going to single crochet in the next 5. Two, 5, and then again Now we're going to skip 2 chains and 1 single crochet in the next 5. And then we're going to create the top part. We're going to then, in the next chain, do 3 single crochets. And then 1 single crochet in the next 5. And then you can see what's going on here. We are making, I don't know if you can see, our chevron. It's hard to tell from the very first one, but obviously we're going to repeat what we're doing. So obviously I'm going to, after we make our little peak, we got to make the valley or the dip, skip 2, and do a single crochet in the next 5. And then 1 single crochet in the next 5. Okay, I'm going to repeat this pattern around back to the end of the row. I'll let you know what to do next when we get close to the end. Alright, I am toward the end here. I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 7 stitches left. We're going to skip. Obviously, I just got down. We did the 3 increase of 3 single crochets. We did 5 single crochets. We're going to skip 2 stitches. 1 single crochet in the next 4. And in the last stitch, I don't know if you can see because I had a dark section of the yarn, we're going to put in 2 single crochets. Chain 1, and then we're turning. So now this is the 1 row repeat of this part of the sock. We are going to work in the back loops. So in the first single crochet, working, I don't know if you can see, in the back loop, we're going to put in 2 single crochets. And 1 single crochet, working in the back loop. The next 4. So yeah, so on the ends there'll be 6 single crochets on the end. We're going to skip these 2 single crochets and then still working only in the back loop. We are going to single crochet in the next 5. Somehow my yarn got split there. Okay, 2, 4 and 5. And then the next stitch, we're putting 3 single crochets, again only in the back loop. single crochet in the back loop of the next 5. Skip the next 2 for the dip part of our chevron. Skip the next 2 stitches, 1 single crochet in the next 5, single crochets in the next stitch, and one single crochet in the next 5. So I think at this point, again, working in back loops, we're going to repeat that pattern until when I get over to, I'll get back with you when I get back to the end of this row. Alright, I am at the end of, near the end of the row. I just finished up the 3 single crochets and the 5 single crochets. Skip 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet in the next 4, and 2 single crochets at the very last. Single crochet, chain 1 and turn. There you go. You just repeat that last row until you, I did 30 till you have 30 rows total. So again, you start out with 2 single crochets in the back loop of the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next 4. That's how we start the end. Skip 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet in the back loop. The next 5. Three single crochets in the next stitch. That'd be the top of the chevron. 1 single crochet in the next 5. Skip 2 and repeat. And we'll keep doing that till we get to the very, very end here, where we're going to skip 2 single crochet in the next 4 and 2 single crochets on top. So we're going to repeat that last row. This is what we did until you have 30 rows total, which is like, I happen to have another one right here done that has 30 rows done. So I'm going to save my place on this sock and proceed, and then we're going to show you what to do next after we have 15 rows. I don't know if you can, probably can't. Let me see if I can get you out. Don't mind the mess. Tight. So I have 15 rows done. In case you haven't noticed, we have a chevron pattern, and as we got ridges, so we should have about 15 ridges, 30 rows. 11, 12, 13, yep, 15. So now what we're going to do is make the toe. So let me get situated and then we will be back. Alright, so then after we get 30 rows done, we're going to turn our work to the side and we're going to start making the toe. So even though we have 30 rows, we're going to put 32 single crochets along the top here. And then a stitch marker would be handy. Because at this point we're going to be working in continuous, we're going to be working in rounds, but we're going to start by putting 32 single crochets along the edge here. So just to note, if you happen to make, I know I used a striping side yarn, but if you use like multiple colors, if you're like using 2 colors and if you're changing colors at the end of the row, you might want to put this on the end of the row that you change colors with. So yeah, so we got 32 stitches along this section. Sorry, we're at a part where the yarn is dark, so it'll be hard to see. So now what we're going to do is bring around to the first. It says we're going to work in continuous rounds for our toe. So we're bringing this around. So we're not going to join, we're just going to work continuous rounds. And we're going to probably mark our first stitch. So I just did a single crochet and I'm just going to put a stitch marker. So that's 1, and then we're going to do a single crochet in the next 5, so there'll be 6. So that's first one, that was 1. Two. So after we do 6, we're going to do 2 together, draw a loop, 1, draw a loop up in the next one, yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. Alright, you're going to do another single crochet in the next 6. So yeah, sorry, the yarn at this point was dark, so it's hard to see. So we're going to do a single crochet 2 together over the next 2. So we're pulling up a loop in the next stitch and then put our hook in the next one and drop a loop and yarn over it and draw through all 3 loops. So it's a single crochet 2 together. We do another 6. We're single crochet 2 together. Single crochet in the next 6. Then the last 2 stitches, there's 2 stitches left, we're going to single crochet 2 together for that one. Those 2. There we go. Now for the next round, we're just going to single crochet evenly around. So I'll take out my stitch marker. And then we're just going to single crochet evenly around. Right after we've done a row evenly around, we're going to do another row of decreases. So to do that, we're going to single crochet in the next 5. So here's the first one. I'm going to put my stitch marker back in the first one. Again, I apologize that we're in the dark portion of this yarn. It might be hard to see, but we're single crocheting in the next 5. So that was 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to decrease over the next 2 stitches. Start the hook in the first stitch, drop a loop, the hook in the next stitch, and then drop a loop and yarn over it and draw through all 3 loops. Single crochet in the next 5. And decrease 2 together. Then we repeat that around. Single crochet in the next 5. Single crochet 2 together. Single crochet in the next 5. And then single crochet 2 together. Alright, for the next round, we're going to do another round of single crochet evenly around, so no decreases. Alright, so we just finished up our row of single crochets. Now we're going to do, probably the remaining rows will all be decrease rows. So now we're going to single crochet in the next 4. Here's our first one. I'll put my stitch marker back. So that'd be 1, 2, 4, and then our decrease over the next 2. Next 4. Single crochet in the next 2. Next 4. And 2 together. Do the next 4. Alright, so we finished that row. Now we're going to do another row of decreases. So see, now we just did 4, now we're going to do 3. So that's be 1. I'm going to put our stitch marker back. Three, and then 2 together. Single crochet 2 together. Three single crochets. Single crochet 2 together. Two together, single crochet in the next 3 single crochets, and then finally single crochet 2 together. Alright, 1 more row and then for our toe. So we're going to single crochet in our next 2 stitches. I'm going to mark my first one again, first stitch. I'll single crochet 2 together. See, now we're in the light color. Single crochet in the next 2 stitches. We 2 together. Now that we're in a lighter color, I could show you. We put the stitch in our next stitch, draw up a loop, put our stitch in the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over it, and draw through 3 loops. That's our decrease. Stitch in the next 2 stitches, and then we do our decrease. We got confused for a second. 1 single crochet in the next 2, and then we do our decrease. And that is it for the toe. We need to sew up our hole. I'm just going to slip stitch into the next stitch. Find my scissors. Oh. Right, leave enough of a tail because we have to sew our toe together. I'm going to put our string on the other side, and then we're going to turn the whole sock inside out. See, inside out. And put our tail along the end, and we're just going to sew up the toe. Yarn needle. Just gonna sew back and forth, or you can do a whip stitch. Suppose I could have done the whip stitch too. We're just sewing up the hole on our toe. Just want to make sure that's well secured. We don't want our seam to come out. Okay, I think we got our toe sewed up. probably the hardest part of the sock is coming up. Because now we have to sew the chevron seam, and it's not like it's a straight seam, so you pretty much have to match. You can't go this way. You'd have to match wherever there was a dip on the one side of the sock. You'll have to match it up with the top part. You know, you have to line up the zigzag of our chevron, which could be a little challenging at first. But yeah, you want to match up the pattern. Like say where it's at, like this side of the sock, that's the top part, you know, or where would have been the dip. And I guess it could be looked at. You're matching the tops with the tops, and what looks like the dips with the dips. So yeah, this could be the most challenging part. It's just sewing the chevron together. So now, okay, now we're back over here, and okay, I have two here. Oh, probably because I had to go on to a new. This is because I had to go on to another ball. So just to let you know, I had to use three balls of this. Will have to go into these socks. So I'm going to find my long tail that I saved. That's why I said you want a long tail for sewing. Alright, so otherwise we need to figure out where we want, you know, we got the ridges. We want to know where we want to see the ridge. Like I said, we're going to have to match it up. So we want to see, I think I figured it out. We want to see when we sew it. To see, I'm trying to think of what we need to see. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, so we need to figure out, all right, so we don't want to see where we're sewing. We don't want to see, we want to sew it onto the front loop. So one end was the foundation chain, so I'm just going to go through the whole chain. And the front loop. Oh, so I guess if you keep it from stitch to stitch, then you should be fine. But I think this will be the most challenging. And again, I'm on the dark portion of this hug. So yeah, then I'm going to go through on the other side, the front loop. And I usually go through, try to find, and then the bow stitches on that side. Oh, yep, that's the other one. So actually, because they have foundation chain, I'm going to go through these two loops of this foundation chain and the front loop of my next one. Did I just undo that? So yeah, I guess if to keep it track, you want to go, you know, next keep each, you know, the first one on one side, and then and then you want to get it to line up the pattern. So yeah, this I think will be the most challenging part. So I'm going to sew up my seam, and then I will get back with you. Another angle, probably got more light now where I'm at now. Still the painstaking task of trying to, it says this is probably the hardest part. This is a foundation line. I'm going to go through. Now if we went, I should probably note that if you did the first row going in the back humps, you probably would see two loops. I would go through both loops. It's still the front loop. This back one here. Alright, I'm going to continue on with this. Just checking in to see how we're doing. Right, I'm going to continue on, and then I will get back with you. Alright, I got this sock sewed up. Alright. Okay, there we are. See, now I'm trying to figure out where my seam is. If you can't find the seam, yeah, it's here because for a little bit I did the whip stitch. You can see that where compared if you just went back and forth, you can hardly see it. Okay. Excuse the mess, but here we are. That is finished tube sock. So obviously it's a tube sock, so it might. I think that's what the back loops gives it a more stretchy effect. And it looks cute. So obviously you have to start the second one. I would say almost right away, which I'm going to do that one, and then I will get back to you when both socks are done. There you have it. My tube socks. I did this pattern years ago, and if I was to make any updates, I would find the portion where the heel is and make that chevron a bigger chevron. Just a thought I was thinking of as I was making these socks. Well, and maybe something you could adapt in here. Figure out where your heel is going to be, and I would say about like around I think there's 10 chevrons here. 1, 2, 3, or maybe 9. I would say about 4 chevrons from either side. The 4th, maybe the 5th chevron. Oh, there are 10 here. About the 5th chevron, I would probably make it a bigger chevron. Like having, instead of 5, maybe 7 or 8. 8 single crochets for that chevron. But that was just a thought. So, there, I hope you did enjoy this tutorial. Let me know if you plan on making these and what you think. So if you did like this tutorial, please get a like. See more content like this, please subscribe to my channel. I want to thank you always for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye now.